What's going on, y'all? It's your boy, Malcolm Miller, and I'm back once again to talk about Lee Thompson Young. Lee Thompson Young, aka the Famous Jett Jackson. If you are a fan of Disney Channel from, I say 95 to early 2000s, you know who the Famous Jett Jackson is. A couple of days ago, it was a 5-year anniversary, or not anniversary, I should say. It's been 5 years since Lee Thompson Young, aka the Famous Jett Jackson, tragically took his life. And when I first heard that news, it saddened me a lot because the Famous Jett Jackson represented so much a great time in my childhood. I remember watching that show and thinking to myself, that is a cool young black brother. Like, he was one of the coolest black dudes on television outside of Will Smith. The coolest young black dudes. Like, I looked at them dudes and said, I wanted to be like them. Like, the Famous Jett Jackson had it all. He was a kid who was living a regular life at school, and he was starring on a TV show on the side. He was smooth. He was clean cut. He had the waves in his head. The girls liked him. And he was just an all-around good guy. And I'm looking like, man, I want to be just like that dude right there. Like, he embodied everything that I felt like, man, was cool in a young black male. I would look at shows with him and Will Smith. I'm like, man, they was funny. They could act. And, so they had a style of charisma about themselves that a lot of people were, attracted to, or they were charmed by. And when I heard about this, I was like, man, come on, man, not the Famous Jett Jackson. Like, it's some people that you think you're never prepared for them to pass on, especially something that just happened so sudden and tragically. But me thinking about that, I thought about all the times I would come home and watch the Famous Jett Jackson on the weekends, especially, after a long time, it's like a hard week at school, and I'm looking like, man, I want to be like this dude. Like, I would watch that show and think, man, I could be on Disney Channel, I can be a cool young fly brother from Chicago, and I can represent my people and be just an outgoing person on TV. You know what I mean? So it just saddens me, man, when I hear the news about this. Like, not hear the news about it, I've heard it years ago, of course, when it first happened, but to sit back and like no lie, this was like a couple of weeks ago and earlier today, I was watching some episodes of the Famous Jett Jackson on my laptop. You know what I mean? I'm looking like, man, it brought back so many memories. All the cool Disney shows I used to watch, The Jersey, everybody, like, some people don't even remember that. So weird. It was a little scary for our age range, but you had Even Stevens, you had The Proud Family, you had movies like Johnny Tsunami. Also, Lee Thompson Young was in that, and you just had a whole The Alley Cat Strike Back. That was a movie. My Date with the President's Daughter. My Mom's Going on a Date with a Vampire or something like that. All these Halloween Town. All these classic movies that just made you celebrate your childhood and think, man, I had it good. But the epitome of it all was Lee Thompson Young and his character as Jett Jackson, man. It was in a fictional town called Wilmstead, North Carolina. He had his his granny. She was a sweet older lady. I think she passed away like about 5 years ago as well. Then he had his father, cool stand-up guy that was the sheriff in town. And he had just a cool group of friends that he could just be himself around. Then I remember when Destiny's Child was on the show, and Beyonce. I thought Famous Jett Jackson was gonna pull Beyonce. That was gonna do it all for me. If Jett Jackson could get Beyonce, and I thought he could, in the show she played him like he was like a little brother to her. And I'm looking like, come on, man. You know you want to holler at the Famous Jett Jackson. But when I saw that show, man, I saw the news, I just thought about Jett Jackson and how cool he was as a black kid on TV.